Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Diane and my passion is painting and creating nature-inspired watercolours in my studio, which are easy for you to do too. I share all my paintings with you on YouTube, and on our website dianeantone.com you can find free downloadable sketches for all the videos to help you make the most of your painting journey. And if you'd like a little bit more, we also have channel memberships with loads of perks for you to enjoy. So welcome on board. Click subscribe and turn on notifications, and let's learn to paint watercolour. So here I am in the studio again today. Welcome everybody, it's Diane here and I hope everyone's well. Today I'm going to use my old Schminke paint box. This is a paint box I bought in 1989 when I was in Germany. Schminke at that time was unknown to me, and most of us in England, we were all pretty much on the Daler Rowney and Winsor & Newton script. But I was in Germany and I was there on a painting course, and I was introduced to this type of paint by a German artist. And anyway, so I bought the empty box, the empty tin, and I bought myself half a dozen or a dozen, I can't remember exactly now, different colours of paint, which I put in there, and they're all still there now. That was 1989 and now it's 2022, so that's been there quite a while. I added a few more as we went along to come to the 3 rows. So just to, for anyone who's a beginner out there, just to let you know that what you invest in when you first start on your painting journey, because that for me wasn't even the beginning of my painting journey, but this was the first time I bought a tin like this. That will stay with you for the rest of your life. So buy good quality. I can recommend Schminke. Schminke paints are very good. There are others as well, but that's what I began with. So anyway, enough rambling. So what I'm going to do first of all to make these paints a little bit more enthusiastic about life, to give them a little bit of a spray with some water, and then if I can make the spray work, come on, there we go. That's enough, don't need much. And then I'm going to set that to one side while I talk about what I'm going to paint. It's always difficult actually for me here in the studio, knowing what to paint, what people are going to like, and what is actually popular by YouTube standards. Don't seem to have any relationship with one another, so I find myself every morning waking up in a tortured frame of mind as I try to figure out what I'm going to do. So anyway, enough prevaricating and procrastinating and putting off the evil day. So I'm going to talk a little bit about palettes at the moment. I have got these little dishes which I'm lucky to have, again inherited from Germany, and so the way I use these usually is I usually squeeze a little bit of paint in here from a tube, and then I use that as my source of paint. And a lot of you will have seen me doing that, so like this. But today, because I'm going to use this paint box, I might use these to mix up my washes with. So for example, I might go into my cadmium red and pop some in there and dilute it as I need to going along, and then use it to paint with. So that's one way I can make that work for myself. Another kind of palette I've got is these little dishes here, which are little Pyrex ones. You can buy those quite easily online, and they serve exactly the same purpose. They're not quite as good as the white ones because they're obviously transparent, but if you stand them on white paper, they do work just as well. And I used those for a long time until I managed to get my hands on these little ones. So you don't need as many as that. I'm just greedy. That just happened. So now what I'm going to do is the other palette. This is what is originally a palette for acrylic or oil. It's a disposable one. Daler Rowney Tear Off palette, this one is. And it works really well. It's not just for oil and acrylic, as it happens, because you can use it to mix your colours on just the same as you would any other kind of palette. And the thing is, when this dries, you can still reactivate it. It doesn't soak into this paper. So it's the same as using a plastic palette. So just a couple of tips there on palettes. So I have meanwhile decided what I'm going to paint, I think, and I'm just a little bit worried about this board, which is going to wobble. I'm sorry if there's been a bit of wobbling on camera just lately. The stand that I have my camera fixed to was coming loose and I didn't realize it. So every time I breathed, everything was moving. That's no good, is it? Okay, so I'm not going to use my red brushes today. I'm going to use the set from Zen Art. This is the Black Tulip ones. This is a flat 1 inch, then there's a smaller flat in the set. There's a large round, that's a size 10, not bad. This is something completely different, that's Pro Art brush. That's something completely different too. Then there's a rigger in the set here, which is starting to show signs of wear, but that's because I use it a lot. Then there's a cat's tongue, and there's one other, I think it's not that one, is it? It's a draw well brush. There's another one, another round. It's somewhere. Oh, I bet it's over here. Yeah, that one there, so number 8. So I think I'm going to use those brushes today. Some or all. So I'll put them in there where they're being guarded by my cat. Now this board has bent. This is one of the problems with stretching paper sometimes. You find that the paper pulls so tight when it dries, when you've stretched it. It pulls so tight that the board actually warps. So this is now wobbling. But I don't know about that. Let's put that one to one side. And I'll use this one instead, which is the same paper. This is Bockingford paper, slightly dirty. I think the cat's been at work here. We'll take no notice of that. Bockingford, £140. Synthetic, not synthetic. Not cotton. What's it? Oh, cellulose paper. Very good. Works fine. No problem. Well sized. Resists paper wear. Doesn't bobble up, and all the rest of it. Okay, so I'm going to paint some anemones. And I'm going to paint them in red, and I'm going to need to move my brushes out of the way a little bit. I'm going to need to mix up some reds for this. So this is where these little dishes come in handy. So we'll put some red. This is cadmium red. This is Windsor red. This is Permanent Rose. This is Alizarin Crimson. And if you're still at the beginning of your painting journey and you haven't bought many paints yet, those are the 4 reds. I'll put a list underneath afterwards in the description, and it'll be on the blog as well. Those are the reds that you'll need. Then there's also, you'll also probably need cadmium orange. And then, as well as those colours, I'm going to need lemon yellow. Lemon yellow, or cadmium yellow, it might be one or the other. And a green, probably Windsor green, I expect. probably be the best, because that, although that's a very unnatural looking green, when that mixes with yellows and reds you get some decent greens. And then, so that's about it for this painting. I will use probably this palette to mix on. I'm going to put those aside for a minute. I'll have to replenish these, I expect, but we'll see how it goes. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to do a sketch, I'm going to paint straight into the paper and say a little prayer for me. So we're just putting in a mixture of reds, basically. Just using the side of the brush. I quite like, when I'm using this large round, I quite like to use the side of the brush. This is an impressionistic, a loose interpretation of the idea of anemones. These are just kind of going to have black centers. Which will bring them into a sort of shape, a bit more of a shape of a flower. So you're kind of trying to make a design, really, and you probably want to make them overlap a bit like that. So then, having put one load of colour in, I'm going to come back with a second and just dropping that in, because it's absolutely essential to give the flowers some space. So I'm trying to sort of use up the paint in a way. Maybe we'll put another one down here. Okay. Now I'm going to drop blobs of water, thank you, Mr. Bean, into the washes I've done to give some back runs, which will make things possibly more interesting. If you like back runs, if you don't do it. If you don't know what a back run is, just go ahead and do it. And then I'm going to pick up some more yellow. I'm going to go for this same yellow, which was pretty sure that's cadmium yellow, and I'm going to draw in, using this brush, long stems, curving and coming down to the bottom here. And after I've done one, I'm just going to go back in with some green and drop touches of green in, which we then will leave to spread. And then maybe I'll mix a bit of the green in with the yellow to give us a softer green. And then, sorry, I don't mean to sigh, I'm just breathing. Using the tip of the brush now rather than the side, I've got the stem there. Just going to flick out some green areas underneath each of the flowers because they have that. So I'm just varying the greens all the time. And pick up a bit more yellow. We need another red one up there. And let's make a darker green using the alizarin crimson with some of this Windsor green, darker green, and we're going to come in and put some darker stems, some darker areas on some of the stems at the background there. Maybe a bit here. And then that same darker green. You can use some cadmium. Any of the reds mixed with Windsor green will give you a darker green. Sort of feeling I need a little one here, just behind that stem, and then it needs a stem too. Okay, so the next thing will be to put the centers in, which we'll do once this has dried, I think. I might put in some darker red, and to make that go even darker, this is alizarin crimson. Maybe I'll just stick with that for now, and I'm going to put some of this alizarin sort of near to where I'm going to place the centers. On these ones, these are the sort of bigger. That one's kind of going off the page, so we won't do much there. I'll put a bit more on that one. This one needs a bit more variety. And we will now kind of let this move, do its own thing. Yeah, don't want to play with that anymore. I haven't used the palette here at all in this particular case. But you never know. So sometimes I put things out that I think I'm going to use, and then it turns out that I don't. But now what I need to use is a little bit of patience, I think. So maybe just a few more of these yellowy things underneath. Okay, so it doesn't look like anything at the moment, doesn't look like flowers, but we'll leave that to dry, and then we'll come in and we'll do the centres and hopefully turn them into some anemones rather than some red blobs. So while I'm waiting for this to dry, I'm going to just swatch out the colours that I have in this box. And recommend that these are the colours that you probably would most benefit from having in your selection. So we'll start with the reds. And I'm doing this for my benefit, really, because my map of the paint box has got lost. So I need to know what's in there. So this is cadmium red, Windsor red, permanent rose, alizarin crimson, cadmium orange, cadmium lemon, I don't know what that one is. This is raw sienna. Naples yellow. Then we have another yellow here. This is cadmium yellow, as opposed to cadmium lemon. This is another orange. I think that might be a cadmium yellow as well, but I'm not sure. Oh no, that's transparent yellow. Sorry, this one's transparent yellow. And this one is quinacridone gold, which is one of my favorite colors. So those are the reds and the yellows that you need. And if you go to my blog, you'll find a list of all of these there. And now we're going to look at the blues. This is phthalo blue. This is this is a Winsor & Newton colour, and I would say that was ultramarine. You definitely need ultramarine. Anyway, this is Windsor blue. That is ultramarine violet. That's cobalt blue. I tried to find out what that one was, and I can't. I don't know what it is, but it's blue. That's cerulean. So those are really the blues that you need. Then I've got 3 greens. This is Windsor green, which is a good background colour for the basis of mixing lots of other greens. And this is I think that's a mystery I don't know. And this is sap green. This one is not necessary. Oh, I know what that is. That's Viridian. Okay, then now we have our browns, our neutrals. This is Payne's Grey. This is Ivory Black. This is what they call Elfenbein Black. That's Burnt Umber. Raw Umber. Caput Mortuum. Indian Red. And Burnt Sienna. So there we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 colours. That's a complete palette. That's my choice of colours. I recommend those colours. Will make anything you want. And as I said, you'll find a list of those on the blog and also in the description below the video. So I'm just going to mix up some of my Winsor Violet, which is here, with a bit of black or Payne's Grey, if you don't like black. I'm just going to drop a few bits into the centres of 1 or 2 of these flowers. And try to maintain some of the lights, so I'm not going to do a solid thing at all, but just a few bits like that, and leave some of the lights on this one too. So this is kind of for the centre, and it should be a bit mauvey. And so they're already starting to look a little bit more like flowers, I think you'll agree, with the dark centres, because these ones do have dark centres. And so then now the next thing to do is probably to let that dry a bit, but I might come back in with some red. Dark red, so alizarin crimson, maybe with a touch of mauve to make it a bit more shadowy, and start to maybe delineate some of the petals a little bit. And touch some of the black a little bit somewhere along the line so that you get a bit of bleeding. And this one up here that's a bit orangey on the orange side. Okay, now it's time to let that dry and then come back after lunch when it's completely dry and finish off the centres, because they're going to have to be quite a bit bigger than that, but I can't make them bigger until the petals have dried. Okay, so this is now completely dry, and I'm going to use this brush to paint the centres of the flowers. I'm going to do it in a kind of stipple, kind of stencil sort of way. This is a round brush, and the bristles are fairly firm but not very hard, very hard. Any kind of round brush would do. And I'm going to mix up. In here I've got some nice thick black paint, which I'm going to use, and I'm just going to pick up on the end of this brush. I've just dampened it very slightly, and I'm just going to pop in some dots like that, which will give me basically the effect of the centre of these flowers. And if you want to, you could use a little bit of blue, because there is a kind of bluish tint, but I'm just going to make it easy. Just keep it simple. There we are, and maybe just a couple there, and a couple there, and maybe a little bit more there. I think that will be fine. So I'll wash that out in a minute or two. And now what I've got to do now is identify the petals a little bit and darken them down a bit. So we need to come in with some, where it's a little bit dark. I'm just going to emphasize the shadow side of the petal. Okay, so just give some variety to the darks. Where it's dark, you go darker. And yeah, I don't want to fuss around too much with that. Maybe I might use a little bit of white also, just a few dots of white. So I'll go to my white gouache. You could use a white pen. And somebody asked the other day, could they use white acrylic to paint the snowdrops that we did yesterday? And I think, yes, you probably could, as long as it was kind of the last step. I'm not quite sure whether watercolor would go over the top, but it'd be okay if it was just the last thing that you're going to do. So we just do that, and then with the black, which I already have on here, I think. Yeah, some of these just want We could pick up a little bit of blue. Maybe I'll do that. A little bit of blue. Not sure if that will really make much difference, but one or two shadows underneath in the darker places perhaps. And it's a sort of semi-abstract kind of thing. I'm going to put a little bit of spatter on. Pick up some red, perhaps. A little bit of perhaps darker red over this side. Maybe a spot of lilac, and perhaps I think that's enough. And if you wanted to, you can come in and you can do more sort of structure to the petals if you want, but it's okay to leave it like this. It just gives an impression of flowers. So there we are, nice bright flowers. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give us a like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't forget to go over to the blog to get your free sketches. All the sketches are free for all the videos that we've done over the last year. There's loads of them, and you can download those, and there's a tip jar there if you want to contribute to the running of the channel, but you don't have to by any means. Don't forget also there's membership on the YouTube channel too. Just have a look at the join button where it says join at the top of the page. When you go to my channel homepage, you can click on that to find out more. It doesn't commit you to anything by clicking on join. It doesn't kind of put you in jail straight away. So I'll let you go now, and I enjoyed doing that. Hope you do too, and I'll see you again soon. Bye everybody. Bye bye.